Okay, I'm going to give you a fair warning. This video is going to be a little bit longer than usual, probably around 12 to 15 minutes. We're going to be going to every free agent that is still available after week one first wave of free agency for the Detroit Lions and who is available from every other team. Now, I'm going to specifically pay attention towards the defensive line, specifically defensive ends and pass rushers that are still available. I'll be going over mostly every position, but especially defensive end, defensive tackle, linebacker, corner, defensive back, an offensive guard, a couple receivers as well. We won't really be heavily looking at quarterbacks, running backs, and stuff like that because we don't need that position, obviously. Um, but let's first start off with the Detroit Lions free agents who are still available who have not been signed, either re-signed by the Detroit Lions or not signed by any other team. So, starting with, this is going by previous average per salary. And Za'Darius Smith, he's still available. Now, if I'm going to be going over if I'd re-sign this guy or not. Za'Darius Smith, obviously, I'd re-sign him. It's so stupid to me that they didn't re-sign or not re-sign him. That they cut it. That they cut him in the first place. Wow. That they cut him in the first place. So I'm 100% bringing back Za'Darius Smith. I don't think they will bring him back. But if we can bring him back for $6-7 million, even 7.5, sign me up because he would literally be 2 times better than our second string edge rusher right now, and Marcus Davenport. So Za'Darius Smith, I highly doubt the Lions bring him back, but I would. But I'm not even gonna really grade that because again, I just don't see him coming back. John Kaminsky, I would not bring him back. I mean, I would not be mad if the Lions brought him back, but I highly doubt he comes back. His market value is $2.5 million. Jalen Reeves-Maybin, the Lions also cut him, so I'm not really going to give a yes or no for this either because I highly doubt he comes back. Would I like to see him come back? Yes, for good linebacker depth, good special teamer, but I highly doubt he comes back. Emmanuel Mosley, absolutely not. No, 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 no. He does not need to come back. I highly doubt that. If the Lions bring back Emmanuel Mosley, we have a serious problem. We need another cornerback. We for sure need another cornerback. We need another CB4-5 to compete with Rakestraw. But if we bring back Emmanuel Mosley to be that police, I'm losing my mind. He's going to cost the veteran minimum 100%. But the fact that he has missed almost essentially 3 straight seasons with a season-ending injury, and they could have played him last year in a role when we had all our guys in the defensive back room essentially hurts, then they decided not to do it. If we bring back Emmanuel Mosley, we have a problem when we're not even targeting an edge rusher yet. He does not need to come back, and I highly doubt the Lions bring him back, but you know Brad Holmes. Khalil Dorsey, he's a hard one. He's a young guy. He's a good special teamer. Can fill in a corner if needed. Except he had the same injury that Aiden Hutchinson had, and it's going to affect him more than it will Aiden Hutchinson just because of the respective position. So I wouldn't bring him back just because of his injury, and I will think that will affect Khalil Dorsey just more than it will affect Aiden Hutchinson. And I think we can improve as well. So we got Stanley Thomas Oliver, kind of plays the same type role as Khalil Dorsey. So I'd just rather stick with Stanley Thomas Oliver just because of Khalil Dorsey's injury he had. So I would not bring back Khalil Dorsey just because of the injury he had. I could see the Lions bringing him back, but I don't see them bringing him back until around training camp when he's a little bit more recovered from his injury. Michael Badgley, he will not be back. There's no reason for him to be back unless if we sign him during training camp when he's still available. If he is, it didn't really make any sense right now. I would not bring him back. Teddy Bridgewater, he is hard. We did sign Kyle Allen, so I pretty much that does rule out, I think, Teddy Bridgewater coming back at least to start the season. I mean, he could do something like we just did this past season where we signed him late in the year to make a playoff and Super Bowl push. But again, I think he's going to go coach high school football again. But if he doesn't, I'd bring him back. But he's also a hard one to say. So I'm going to say the Lions don't bring him back. I would, but again, I think he's going to coach high school football, so that rules out that. Allen Robinson, again, he's one of my favorite Lions receivers. Not Lions because he didn't really play for us that long. But NFL receivers of all time. He's one of my favorite of all time. But I would love to see him back. I highly doubt he comes back. I love him to be back as just a guy to compete for a practice squad spot or be wide receiver 6. I don't really know if I want him being wide receiver 4 again for next year, just to get a younger guy in there maybe. But for him to come back and potentially compete for wide receiver 6 or be a practice squad body, sign me up. So I would like to see Allen Robinson come back, but I don't think the Lions will bring him back. I think he's personally going to retire, unfortunately. Kyle Peko, with signing Roy Lopez, I don't think he comes back, but I would like to see him come back. He played very well the 4.5 games he was available. Ben Neiman, I highly doubt he comes back with re-signing Trevor Nowaski, with bringing back Grant Stewart. I just don't see Ben Neiman coming back, even though I would have liked to see him come back. I thought he played well on special teams and a little bit of defensive snaps he was out there. Pat O'Connor, I'd like to see him come back. I don't think he'll be back, though. Quaden Muhammad, he needs to be back. I don't understand why he's not back quite yet. Doesn't make any sense. His market value is $2.5 million as well. He needs to be back 100% for that price. Was very good when he played last year. Had 3 sacks and only played essentially half the season, so he probably would have ended up with at least 5 or 6 if he would have played the whole year. Quaden Muhammad needs to be back. He had a lot of pressures, too, for the little amount of games he was out there. Needs to be back as a 5th or 6th string edge rusher for us this upcoming season. He won't cost much either. I don't understand why he hasn't been brought back. He's my number one priority for us that is still available. Jonah Williams, I don't want him back. He looked horrible when he was out there last season. I don't think the Lions will bring him back either, as he's almost 30 years old. Shane's also don't think he'll be back. The Lions just signed Kenny Yeboah. If the Lions do re-sign him, I think it will be after the draft if they did not draft a tight end or sign anybody in UDFA free agency. But yeah, I don't think he comes back right now. Myles Adams, he's already re-signed. Connor Galvin, they did not give him an exclusive free agent tender, so he will not be back. I highly doubt it. Mitchell Gude, same thing there. They did not give him an exclusive rights free agent tender, so I highly doubt he comes back. Kayode Awosika, he was also, I believe, an exclusive rights free agent that they did not tender, so I could see still him coming back because he's filled in for us in the past and played okay. But personally, I would not bring him back. Quan Alexander, he's a straight free agent. He was available immediately after the season ended just because he ended the year on the practice squad. So I don't even know why he's on there, but no, I would not bring him back. He looked like Father Time Jamie Collins when he was out there. He was slow, not good on special teams, not good on defense. His career is probably over, unfortunately. Great story, great background, love the guy, but his career is probably over. Obviously, I would not bring him back, and the Lions will not bring him back either. So that's the Lions free agents. I know this video is already gone way too long, so we're just going to scroll over the guys who are still available because we're not going to really talk about them like that anyway because they're not on our team. Let's scroll out. I want to get out of this tab here. There we go. Now there's still a lot of players still available at a lot of positions. Specifically defensive ends, shockingly. There's still a lot of guys available. One of them being Von Miller. You see him on the thumbnail. He's by far probably the best, not by far, but he's probably the best defensive end still available. He is 36 years old, but he's probably not going to command more than about $7-8 million for high production if he stays healthy. So he's an interesting guy. Matt Judon's still out there. We're just going to glance over these guys like I talk about. We're not going to really talk about them just because I want to get this video out. Matt Judon, want to be Matt the Lions, got him. I don't know if I'd sign him, though. His market value is only $4 million, so I would definitely sign him for that, but he did not play good at all last year. I think he only had 5 sacks, and you watched the tape, he was not good last year. So, I don't know. Preston Smith is still out there. Of course, Darius Smith. Charles Omenihu, he's an interesting guy, but he's either going to get you a lot of sacks or none, so I don't know. He's too big of a risk in my opinion. Jerome Baker, not really a pass-rushing linebacker, more of an inside linebacker, but I would not be mad if the Lions got him because he can't pass rush. DeMarcus Walker, whatever. Kaiser White, more of an inside linebacker. Brandon Graham, he's probably going to retire, but if the Lions do sign him, will not be mad. Dennis Gardeck, kind of an interesting guy. Plays inside and outside. Can rush the passer. I like him. Emmanuel Ogbah is always available. I like him a lot. Daryl Taylor, he's not a free agent anymore. Jerry Hughes, he's probably going to retire. Dwayne Smoot, he's more of a defensive tackle. He's still available. If the Lions sign him to be DT5 or DT6 for the upcoming season, I like it. Shaq Thompson's out there, same, more of an inside linebacker there, but he's a good player. Would love that the Lions signed him. Calais Campbell, he's probably the most likely free agent for the Lions to sign. Could play DE and DT. Still plays at a very high level. Azeez Ojulari, don't know how he's still available. Not even 25 years old still. His market value is only $7 million. I'd for sure give him that for 2 or 3 years. He's got a lot of potential to be a good edge 2, potentially even edge 1 in my opinion. Very low risk, high reward scenario there with Azeez Ojulari. I need the Lions to try to target him. And not a lot of guys available besides that. Carl Lawson was productive last season. Had, I believe, 5 sacks. Maybe even 6. Trying to go over any other guys available. I don't believe there's any other big guys available besides that at the defensive end position, but still got a couple of veterans out there. Fali Fatuzuki's out there. Lorenzo Carter. So you got a couple of guys out there, but not a lot of big name guys at defensive end besides a couple. The defensive tackle market, I'm literally just going to glance through this because it is horrible. Raekwon Davis is the best defensive tackle market by a lot. He's a third string defensive tackle at best, or number 3 defensive tackle best in my opinion. Everybody else is like a DT5, DT6 at best. Austin Johnson, John Jenkins, Linval Joseph, who should be in a nursing home. Jonathan Hankins, Taven Bryan, former first round pick bust. Maurice Hurst. Like, those guys are decent DT5, DT6, but they're no higher than that. So the defensive tackle market is horrible. It's literally might be the worst I've ever seen for free agency. I mean, it's arguably worse than an in-season defensive tackle market, which is saying something. Linebacker. We need another guy in my opinion, but I think I'd just rather draft a guy. CJ Mosley, he got released. I'd like if we got him. Devondre Campbell, I don't think he'll play snap in the NFL again from what happened late in the season last year. Eric Kendricks, I'd like him to be a depth piece. Still plays at a decent level. Willie Gay, Chris Barnes, Zach Cunningham, Devin White, Ty Summers. I'd like to see Ty Summers come back. Not a lot of guys besides that. The linebacker position. Cornerback. Again, we know the corner, in my opinion. James Bradbury's out there. Chidobe Awuzie got released. He's a guy that I could see us signing. Jeff Okudah, Kendall Fuller, Rasul Douglas. Stephon Gilmore's a guy I'm closely taking a look at. Mike Hilton, C.J. Henderson, I believe he's a former first-round pick bust as well. Shaq Griffin, had a decent year with the Vikings last year. Tre'Davious White, Ronald Darby. Vontae Maddox is out there. Asante Samuel, I don't know how he's not been signed yet. I'd love the Lions to get him, but I just don't know what role he would have, and I think he's going to cost too much money. Rocky Sin, good depth piece. I'd like if the Lions signed him. Fabian Moreau. Eli Apple, he will not be Detroit Lion. He does way too much. Jalen Mills, I could see him coming to Detroit just because of DJ Reed. And Kevin King is out there. Amani Oruwariye, I could see coming back. Had a good year with the Cowboys last year. David Long, the cornerback. That's about it. Bryce Hall is out there. Caleb Farley. So there's still some guys at the cornerback position. I would highly target, though, if I'm Brad Holmes, the guy like Stephon Gilmore, Kendall Fuller, somebody like that to compete with Rakestraw for CB4. Safety, we need another CB or two, or safety, we need another safety or two to replace the Fatumo Ofanu. Marcus Williams is out there, Justin Simmons, Juan Thornhill, Rayshawn Jenkins, Julian Blackman, Jordan Fuller, Quandre Diggs, Nino. I would love Nino to come back as a safety 3 for us. Can teach the young guys, still plays at a very high level, was coming off of a season-ending injury last year with the Titans. He won't cost much. I'd love Nino to come back. Chuck Clark, Jordan Poyer, Kevon Wallace, Rodney McLeod, Marcus May, John Johnson, who I would like the Lions to sign, always been underrated. Nick Scott, Von Bell, did not have a good year last year. Mike Edwards, Ryan Neal. So there's a couple guys out there. Let's go ahead and look at the offensive side of the ball, and then we'll wrap this video up. Wide receiver. Cooper Kupp, by the way, went off the table. He went to the Seahawks. Stephon Diggs, he won't be a Lion. Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks, Deontay Johnson, Tyler Lockett, Robert Woods, Josh Reynolds. I would still love to see Josh Reynolds come back. He'll be cheap. Love for him to compete with Ted Patrick for wide receiver 3, and whoever loses that battle can be wide receiver 4. Devin Duvernay could be interesting. DJ Chark, would like to see him come back potentially for cheap. He won't cost much. Can be a big body receiver. Tyler Boyd did not have a good year last year. I would still like to see him potentially be signed. Elijah Moore, always was not a big fan of the guy, but had a good year last year. Rondale Moore, Brandon Powell, kind of some 5th string, 6th string wide receiver guys, but I like them. Jamison Crowder's out there. DeAndre Carter, David Moore. That's about it for wide receiver in terms of guys that would have a legitimate role in our offense. Tight end, I guess we can quickly glance over this if we want to prove it. Tight end 3, even though we did sign Kenny Oba, Tyler Conklin, Gerald Everett, Mo Alley Cox. Jordan Akins, I like him a lot as a tight end 2 or 3. CJ Uzama, he barely played last year, but I like him still. Ian Thomas, I like him. That's pretty much it about for tight end. Nick Van Nett's out there, Hayden Hurst, Irv Smith. So a couple guys still at tight end, Peyton Hendershot. A couple guys at offensive guard. You got a couple guys. I'll look at tackle as well because there's a couple tackles who could shift to guard. Brandon Sheriff's out there, Shaq Mason, Will Hernandez. Again, Roy Lopez mentioned him on his tweets when he came to Detroit in front of the building. Mentioned Will Hernandez come on down, so I'd like Will Hernandez to compete with Glasgow if we brought him in. Not a lot of guys besides that. Tevin Jenkins, he's probably my number one guy out there. Not a big fan of the guy, but he's probably the last long-term option out there at guard. Dalton Reisner could be interesting. Liam Eichenberg could also be interesting, but that's about it for guard. It's not really great left remaining. Center, in terms of guys who could switch to guard, not a lot of guys out there. Andre James, David Andrews could be interesting, but besides that, not a lot of guys out there. At the tackle position, there's a couple guys who can move the tackle. I could see Cam Robinson moving to guard. He's a little bit undersized, plays it at a very high level. He can move to guard. Joseph Noteboom, I believe he's on the bigger side. I doubt he'll move to guard. Tyron Smith, also a little bit undersized. I could see him move to guard, plus he's just old. Jedrick Wills, also undersized. I like him a lot. I could see him moving to guard. Trent Brown, same thing there. I like Kendall Lamb a lot. I would like to bring him in as potentially a backup tackle. And not a lot of guys besides that. Isaiah Wynn, he's a guard. I don't know why he's listed as a tackle. He could be a guy as well. And not a lot of guys besides that. I like Jermaine Fay to come back as well as a backup tackle potentially. But that's about it for backup tackle. And I guess we can just scroll over quarterback and go over all the positions here and wrap this video up. Guys, I would like to see his backup quarterback that's still available to compete with if Hendon Hooker leaves. Flacco, Drew Lock, Famous Jameis, Carson Wentz, Case Keenum, Josh Johnson, Tyler Huntley. So there's a couple guys out there as well. Running back. Again, this is just if we want another guy to compete with running back 3 for Craig Reynolds and running back 4 for Sione Vaki. Jamal Williams is out there. Gus Edwards, Jeff Wilson, Nick Chubb. I like him a lot. I love the Lions to sign him, but he's just not what he used to be, man. Naheem Hines, Amir Abdul, wouldn't that be something if he came back? Chase Edmonds. J.K. Dobbins would be nice, but obviously he's a running back 1. Cam Akers, Dante Foreman, Josh Kelly. That's about it for the running back position. Fullback. The fullback class was very good. I think the Lions were going to target fullback this year just because of John Morton. A lot of the guys are gone. Kyle Juszczyk got released and re-signed with the Niners. Patrick Ricard, one of the best fullbacks in the game, re-signed with the Baltimore. Reggie Gillum, also a good fullback, re-signed with the Bills. Nick Ballore, I thought he was a free agent. Apparently he went back to the Commanders. The only other fullback out there I'd like for the Lions to potentially target is actually our former 5th-round pick, I believe, Mike Burton. We drafted him in the 5th round, I believe, back in 2017 or 2018 as a fullback. Only stuck with us for, I think, a year, and then we cut him. But he's one of the better fullbacks in the league. He's the only guy to target the fullback position. Adam Preeta is interesting. Robert Burns, don't know a lot about him. And that's about it. Again, in terms of kicker and punter, we don't even need to go after anybody. So, those are the guys that are still available. Now, my top 10 targets that I would like the Detroit Lions to sign, we'll just go top 5 to wrap up this video quicker. At the defensive end position is Von Miller, Azeez Ojulari, Calais Campbell, Preston Smith, and Matt Judon are probably my top 5 guys. So, one Pride Go Lions. I do think the Lions will make some moves this week. Re-sign a couple of players. Sign some veteran players as well to round out the roster before the draft. So, one Pride Go Lions. But the Lions, please make a move at the defensive end position this week. Please! For the love of God. We need to make a move. Alright, one Pride Go Lions.